Today I'm summarizing a book called The Automatic Millionaire written by David Batch. He strongly believes that you can become a millionaire regardless of how much money you're making right now. David also believes that you don't need to earn a lot of extra income in order to become wealthy. In fact, as low as $5 a day is enough. Most people believe that the secret to getting rich is all about finding new ways to increase income. Well, it isn't true. Ask anyone who got a rise last year if their savings have increased. In almost every case, the answer will be no. Simply look at yourself. You are probably earning more than you were earning in the last 11 to 15 years. But are you richer? Do you have more wealth now? Do you save more than you used to save by then? The answer is more likely to be no. But why? Because the more we make, the more we spend. How much you earn has almost no impact on whether you build wealth or no. In order to become an automatic millionaire, you've got to accept the idea that regardless of the size of your paycheck, you probably already make enough money to become rich. Let me repeat myself at this point. Regardless of the size of your paycheck at the moment, you already make enough money to build wealth. I can already hear you complain in your mind. Come on, what I earn is barely enough to cover my expenses by the end of the month. And you're telling me that I can still become rich with that income? Well, first of all, it's not me who says it. It's David the author. And second of all, it's right. You can become rich with whatever you earn right now. I can't stress enough this point. The importance of believing that you can become rich regardless of the size of your paycheck. This is not just with your heart. I want you to believe this, not just with your mind, but with your heart as well. This is an aha moment that can truly change your life financially. You are probably wondering at this point what the secret is that can make you rich at your current paycheck. The secret is called the Leto factor. It is basically says instead of spending $5 a day on a coffee, if you invest that amount, you'll become rich. To be honest with you, as soon as I read this statement, I stopped reading the book and I said to myself, aha, this is another financial guru telling me to stop drinking my coffee. That is a lie. I'm not going to stop taking my favorite drink for the sake of saving $5 a day. I was planning to return the book and get a refund, but then I continued reading it just to entertain my mind and see what kind of nonsense the author was going to talk about. And I'm glad I didn't send the book back because I was wrong to judge it so quickly. And I found out that the letter factor is not actually about letters. As its name suggests, the reason it's called the letter factor is because of the way this concept was developed. David says in one of his seminars, a lady complains that what he was teaching was not really practical. She really survives at the end of the month, and there is no way she can even save an extra $5 to invest. After analyzing her daily expenses, David found out that she spends around $5 on a coffee and a muffin in the morning, and another $5 on snacks around 11 a.m. So every day she spent roughly $10 a day, even before 11 a.m. It's not yet even lunchtime. Can you imagine? Yet David asked the lady to guess how much money she could save by her retirement if she started investing half of that $10. She thought it would be around $70,000 to $90,000. Some calculations were done, and the lady was shocked to find out that if she invested $5 a day with the 10% returns yearly, she could have around $1.2 million by her retirement. Her daily coffee and muffin were costing her $1.2 million. This was a wake-up call for her to change, and this is how the Leto factor was born. Now, some of you are probably thinking that this doesn't really apply to me because I don't drink coffee, and even if I do drink coffee, I don't really buy this. I can't really throw away this much kind of money as she did. If you think like this, then you are missing the point. You're just like me at the start. When I first heard about the letter factor, what the author is talking about here isn't just the letters. What he's talking about is how we don't realize how much money we waste on little things and how it can change our lives if we simply change our habits just a little bit. Your letter factor is probably not a lot of money, but it's the money you waste on bottled water, cigarettes, soft drinks, candies, snacks, bars, fast foods, forgotten subscriptions, forgotten memberships, gym memberships, and the list goes on. Whatever it is, it happens to be, we all have a little factor. We all throw away too much of our hard-earned money on unnecessary little expenditures without even realizing how much they can add up to the latest factor. The little factor is different for different people. For you, it might be eating out every day. For me, it might be cigarettes and alcohol. And for another person, it might be a second house or a second car that she or he rarely use. In a few minutes, I will explain to you how to find out your little factor. And if you want to know it, this is the amount of money you're losing if you didn't identify and change your little factor. If you would like to find your little factor, then simply track how you're spending for 1 week. It sounds too long, then just do it for 2 days, but not changing your behavior or your expending life. On these 2 days, write down everything that you buy. When I say everything, I mean absolutely everything, even if it costs the very few cents you can think of. Regardless of how you pay for it, cash or card, the author strongly recommends writing down and not doing it in your mind, simply because there is too much power in written numbers. This exercise will help you realize clearly what things you waste money on. This is where the earbuds come in. What are earbuds? It's what people do all the time to rationalize their current place in life, and they don't want to take new actions. How would you know if you are a yabara? You probably are one. You're probably one if you're talking to yourself right now and saying things like, yeah, but I don't waste money on anything. Yeah, but if inflation, even all $1 million won't be worth a while in 30 years. Wrong. It will be worth way more than what you think. And it will be certainly the word a lot more than nothing, which is what you'll have if you don't start putting money aside. Now, yeah, but I'll never be able to get a 10% return on my money. Well, even if you get 5% return, you can still have $500,000, which is not a bad money to have. Saving small amounts of money and invest it, we need a lot more than to be able to invest. Wrong. These days, you can set up an automatic investment plan with as little as $1 in a day. Yeah, but even if I find a way to save an extra $5 a day, I don't know where to invest it. Well, even if you don't invest it, you can at least use it to pay down a loan that has a 7% interest return. It's like you are investing into something that gives you 7% return. Or you can use that money to create some side business. For me personally, this is one of the best ways to invest, by creating side businesses, because the return on investment is quite high. The author's recommendation is to invest it towards your retirement plan. There is so much advice in this book on how to do this, but it's simply for US citizens. If you're interested in retirement plans, then do some research to find out what retirement plans are really offered in the country you're living in now. Before we move to the next part of the video, I want to show you a graph. Which graph I wish that if someone showed me when I was still young. If you're younger, this graph might be really life-changing for you. In the graph, we see 3 people, Moses, Susan, and Joram. All of the 3 invested $3,000 per year, which is roughly $8.3 per month, per day, $8.3 per day. And all 3 get a 10% annual return on their investment. Moses starts investing at the age of 15 and only invests for 5 years until the age of 19. Then he simply stops investing and let the money grow without adding anything extra. Susan starts investing at the age of 19 and invests for 8 years until the age of 26. And then Joram finally starts investing at the age of 27 and he keeps investing until the age of 65. Joram invested $3,000 every year as Moses and Susan do, but Joram does it for 39 years. Here comes the big question. Who has the more amount of money at the age of 65? Well, if you think that Joram has the most amount of money because he invested the longest period and the biggest amount, you're wrong. Joram actually has the least amount of money among the 3. Here are the numbers at the age of 65. Joram has roughly $1.3 million. He invested 117,000 in total. The investment period was 39 years. Susan has $1.5 million. She invested $24,000 in total within 8 years. Finally, Moses has $1.6 million. He invested only $115,000. The investment period was 5 years. As you can see, Moses has the least amount of time and the most amount of money. He invested. Despite he ended up in the biggest amount of money. Why? Simply because Moses started earlier. This is the power of time in investing. To put in short what we talked about so far in the book. The first part we talked about finding our little factor, and as I mentioned earlier, the purpose of the little factor exercise is to just help you realize how you already make enough money to invest and become rich after doing this exercise. If you want to make things more serious and move your money game to a new level, then you need to do one more thing, and that is you need to start paying yourself first. You probably know the concept of paying yourself first. Plus, I've made another video about it. So, I'm not going to talk much about it, but let me throw more lights on it. Why you must pay yourself first. We humans are terrible on many things, and one of them is budgeting. Budgeting is like counting calories when you've just started your diet. You do it for a few days, maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months, but then you stop doing it. So if you don't budget to pay yourself, then you will probably budget and end up paying everyone else but not yourself. You must prioritize yourself and get paid first, just like governments do. Governments didn't always grab chunks of your paycheck before you even saw it. For example, up until 1945, people got their money when they earned it, and they weren't asked to pay income taxes until the next spring. From the government's point of view, however, there was a problem with this system. People just couldn't be counted on to budget enough money to reserve to be able to pay their taxes. The following spring, then the bill came due. Think about that for a second. The government is pretty smart. It figured out years ago that people couldn't budget so well, so it set up a system to make sure that it gets paid first. Not only did the government arrange to get paid first, but the government also automated the process so there wouldn't be any problems. It figured out an error. It figured out a near foolproof way to make sure it would always get its money first. No ifs, no buts, no. But now you need to do the same thing. You need to set up systems that guarantee you will get paid first. Systems in which you pay yourself first. And there comes the most important part of all, and I'm happy that the author talks about it as well, and that is automation. Automation does not matter how much money you pay yourself, or whether you invest the money or you make it automatic. I can't emphasize the importance of automation. If only make two things from this video, then the first should be pay yourself first, and the second one making it automatic. You are not disciplined enough to do this every month. Just accept it as a fact that the author says in 9 years he has seen people who have tried to do it manually, relying on their discipline, but all have failed in the end except one person. Finally, in the end, I would like to say a few words about the book itself. There is quite a lot of practical advice, but some of them are only applicable to US citizens. I quite liked the letter factor exercise, chapters about pay yourself first and automation. There is one thing that I just don't like, not in this book, but that is focusing too much on retirement and how great life will be when you retire with 1.5 million M at the age of 65. To me personally, this seems boring. Plus, I don't know if I would be in good health at 65 to enjoy that money. I'd love to see more financial books talking about getting rich younger. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying investing for the long time or for retirement is bad, that you shouldn't do it. I personally do it. But I don't really rely on that to take care of me. It's a nice thing to have, especially since it doesn't take much effort. Once you set it up, it runs itself, I'm personally most focused on getting rich younger through creating businesses, but I understand that majority of the people watching this video don't want to do so, and that it's absolutely fine. If you'd like to learn more about how to buy things that how to do things that inspires you, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share the video as we grow together. Thank you for watching. Peace.